I might be sending you some softball. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I'll definitely be okay with going to some softball games. Actually, in fact, I'm sure there'll be a lot more people going to the softball games this year.
Because
it's not official, but kind of.
It's not official yet, but Jordy Bahl, who was Oklahoma's pitcher for the last 2 seasons, and she won a national championship for them, she announced this week that she was transferring from Oklahoma to return home. She did not say she was committing to the Huskers or coming to Nebraska specifically, but this is her home. She is from Nebraska. She went to Papillion La Vista and is one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of Nebraska, the state. So it's a huge deal if she comes to Nebraska, and it seems pretty likely.
I saw some comparisons, like somebody likened this to like Caitlin Clark, like transferring from Iowa. Like one of the most famous figures in her sport is now on the market and might come to Nebraska. Like, is this that level, you think?
I would say that it's at that level. And people have been trying to compare it because it's pretty rare for an athlete to win back-to-back national championships and then transfer out. Yeah. It's like an Alabama quarterback wins back-to-back championships and then goes to Auburn or something like that. It's just totally wild.
She was 44-2 the last 2 years as a starter, 22-1 as a sophomore, 22-1 as a junior, a .90 ERA this season. Yeah, she's dominant. She's dominant. It's not like Nebraska's had. I mean, their softball program has made the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. She's just the type of player that I don't know. I don't want to maybe puts them over the top.
She's a player that can transform this program. She's an incredible athlete. She was the most outstanding player in the Women's College World Series this year. She had like 24 2/3 scoreless innings that she pitched. Mm-hmm. And also, like, with her is that there are going to be athletes that look at Nebraska now and think, well, heck, I want to play with Jordy Bahl. And so they're going to come.
It's like the LeBron James going to the Lakers effect when, like, the free agents decide to follow LeBron to his new team. I mean, that's what this could be. And I'm interested, like, the ticket sales. I mean, I've got the map here for Bullen Stadium pulled up. It can accommodate 2,500 fans. There's 750 chairback seats there. I'm just going to go out on record right now and say they will have 2,500 plus.
Is that going to be enough?
At just about every week. I mean, midweek colder games maybe, but the weekend series games at Bullen Stadium, there is going to be a draw. And the folks at Nebraska, I'm sure, are kind of probably going to strategize a season ticket launch because this is going to – it's not going to be Nebraska volleyball, but it's going to be at a level we haven't seen for softball ever at this school, Abby.
Yeah, it's going to be quite wild. And also something that Jordy mentioned when she announced that she was leaving Oklahoma was that she wants to grow the sport of softball in Nebraska. And right now, a lot of young girls pick to play volleyball or basketball because they see volleyball being great here. But once they see great softball, I think a lot of them will want to play that sport, and there'll be a boom in girls softball, I think.
The dynamic that's really interesting to me is Rhonda Revelle, who is in her 60s. I mean, what a late career boost this is. I mean, they've made 22 NCAA tournament appearances under her. They've been to 3 Women's College World Series.
I covered one of her College World Series teams.
Right. She's had success, but it's waned a little bit. She went through a bit of a scandal a couple of years ago. I'd say barely held on to the job.
And that's how they lost Jordan Bahl.
There you go.
Yeah, she was already committed to Nebraska before that, and then she switched to Oklahoma.
Came out of that, and now look at this. Look at this late career shot in the arm. It's sort of amazing.
One, what a way to go out for someone that's given so much to the sport and to the state. You know, like she could potentially have 2 opportunities to go to the College World Series, and she is so well respected in the sport. So is Lori Sipple.
Yeah.
I mean, the combination.
No relation.
No relation.
I work out with Coach Sipple at Orange Theory, and she gets after it.
Well, she was an Olympic. She was an Olympic pitcher. I mean, she's a high level athlete.
She's at 6 a.m. Orange Theory almost every. But yeah, Lori Sipple's got to be the other happiest person in town because she's going to be able to coach Jordy Bahl, who was committed to her. I mean, that was her recruit. That was their recruit that was going to come here. But the transfer floodgates are going to come. I'm just intrigued, though, once again, by the NIL element of this, like, they can sell jerseys with their name and t-shirts with their name, and there will be a desire for people to buy those things. Young girls, there's going to be a desire to buy more tickets and go out to that stadium. And I'm not saying softball is going to make a revenue, so to speak, but the attention Nebraska is going to get on this team is going to change overnight.
Yeah. It'll probably never be greater. And no fan base supports winners more than Nebraska. I mean,
or even
like any sport.
Losers sometimes.
Yeah, even yeah. Tell me about it. So that's what I'm saying. Like that, I'm just like, obviously the on-field product is really exciting, but just like the scene of what that could be if they get her, and then other big time transfers follow, and all of a sudden you have a national title contender playing down the road.
Incredible.
I mean, that could be a major spectacle.
Right. Abby, there's other big news this week.
What? I kind of forgot about that.
Another homecoming, another legend coming home.
Yes. So this has been a huge week, as Sean has said several times, for Nebraska women's athletics. The volleyball team hired Jordan Larson to be an assistant coach, and that is also incredible. She is someone that has learned how to win at every level. She's one of the best volleyball players from the U.S. That's a great photo. And one of the best in the world. She helped lead the U.S. to their first Olympic gold medal in women's indoor volleyball. So this is a huge get for the Huskers. And actually, Jordan's going to try to continue to play and hope for the Olympics this upcoming year, 2024. So this will be huge. And even for recruiting for Nebraska, what in a better way than to learn from one of the best to ever do it and learn about how to be a professional and succeed at that level than from someone that has done it. Grew up in Nebraska, came to Nebraska, won a national championship, won all kinds of awards, and then now she's returning home.
Yeah, credibility comes. That's the word that comes to mind for me. If she addresses you, if you're a player, and Jordan Larson addresses you about anything that has to do with the game, the credibility factor's big in my mind. It always has been. Like if I were a player and I was coached by an NFL player like Terrence Knight, I would listen a little closer. I would. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what will happen with her. You had a great line in your what do you call it?
3 takes.
Yeah, 3 takes.
Yeah.
She's like an article. Sorry,
story.
Never know.
You said I was going to give you a compliment. I still am.
Okay.
Grudgingly.
Sorry.
Abby, you had a great line. There's a reason both Nebraska and Team USA went to Larson for the final kill to win a national championship in Nebraska's case and an Olympic gold medal in the US's case. That's a great point. That doesn't happen by accident.
She is a dominant athlete, and I think she'll bring that mindset to all of Nebraska's players, but also how they run their program, even though it is dominant already. But she knows how to mentally approach the game. She knows the pressure, maybe even greater than these athletes, because she's played all over the world and all kinds of big matches. So she's going to add a lot to this program on the court, but also off the court.
Well, she'll probably practice with the team.
Yeah, she mentioned last year that she was around the team because she was just training in the gym, getting ready for, playing professionally again. So she could maybe just put on some shoes and get out there and show them how it's done.
Well, in like 2000, for John Cook's first national title season, Nancy Mendering-Metcalf was an All-American and sat out the 2000 season because she was on the Olympic team and had to train and recover from that experience. So she was scout team. And then they had a Chinese student assistant, Guozhan Li, who was on the gold medal Chinese team. And the two of those players practiced against Nebraska every day.
Isn't the Karch over there?
I covered that team.
Karch Karai.
Sean never forgets anything.
And so that was, the other thing I want to bring up to Abby is this is all possible because of a new rule change. The NCAA is now allowing a third full-time assistant. And it made it really difficult. Like when you can only have 2 full-time coaches. I mean, there's a lot of qualified people that could help volleyball, but now they can have 3. And that's why Jordan Larson is hired, because Kelly Hunter is still a part of the staff. And who's their other assistant right now? Jalen
Reyes is their lead assistant. And also he won a national championship at BYU for their men's indoor team. So this is this staff knows how to win. I mean, Kelly Hunter is also one of the greats. She won 2 national championships at Nebraska and was an All-American setter. So let's not forget about them. This is like a a powerhouse staff that they have put together.
Do you think, how much value do you think there is? Like, I mean, obviously John Cook carries a brand name in himself, but to have a staff like that, when you're recruiting at the level that he's recruiting, where you're getting the best players arguably in the world for their age, to have those voices alongside yours, like, I mean, say, hey, Coach Cook's busy, go talk to Jordan Larson, you know, like, I mean, like, that seems like from a recruiting and development standpoint to be like significant, where Nebraska volleyball was already the standard. Now, I mean, I just think there's very few programs in the country that can even come close to rivaling that.
It feels like somehow they're growing their brand of
which
greatness.
It seemed impossible.
Yeah, it's already at a super high level, and Jalen Reyes is actually he's one of their best recruiters, and so I think that's just going to get even better, where they get these players, some of the best in the country, and then now they can make them even better because of the staff that they have and how dedicated they are to this game and how much they know the details. So it just seems like they're just getting better somehow, and it didn't feel like they could get to that level, but I guess next up, another national championship.
What's cool when we talk about Rhonda Revelle being on her end of her career, John Cook only has a few years left, and this is another boost for him and the great career he's had at Nebraska.